mix it up a little bit. We'll go right to the phone callers. First up, Gus, listening in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Gus is listening on the web. Hi, Gus.
Hey, Hank, just a quick word of encouragement for you before I ask my question. I'm an Orthodox Christian. I've been following your ministry since before you joined the Orthodox Church. I was very disheartened by the response by some in the evangelical community, and I just wanted to encourage you and let you know that your ministry makes a difference in the lives of individuals, even though you don't meet most of them. So, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That's an encouragement for sure.
So the question I have, this actually came from my wife, and I didn't have to answer, but in Exodus, when God is preparing Moses to go before Pharaoh, one of the things that God states is that he himself will harden Pharaoh's heart. We originally took that to mean that he's going to take Pharaoh's free will away from him, but then upon looking at it again, maybe it's more like through the miracles that God does through Moses, Pharaoh will respond by hardening his heart. Can you help clear that up? It's basically a question about free will.
Sure, and I think you've answered the question, the prologue to the question. So let's just make a couple of points. First of all, although God promised Moses that he would harden Pharaoh's heart, and we see that back in the Old Testament in Exodus chapter 4, the Exodus account underscores the fact that Pharaoh was responsible for hardening his own heart. We see that in many different passages in which the Bible tells us that when Pharaoh saw that there was relief from the miraculous plagues, he hardened his heart. He wouldn't listen to Moses. He wouldn't listen to Aaron, just as the Lord had said. And Christina's in studio with me, but you looked this up actually in Exodus chapter 8.
Yeah, there's several parts where I think it was a plague would happen, and then there would be, it would say that Pharaoh hardened his heart after it happened. And also in 1 Samuel 6:6, it talks about not hardening the Israelites, not to harden their hearts like the Egyptians and Pharaoh did. So there seems to be a precedent that they harden their hearts, Pharaoh hardens his heart, and then God hardens his heart because he's doing what Pharaoh wants him to.
Yeah, exactly. And far from hardening Pharaoh's heart in a direct or deterministic fashion, God presents Pharaoh with ample opportunity and free choice to either repent or to continue to rebel. What you see in Scripture is every time God shows Pharaoh mercy and removes a plague, Pharaoh responds with stubborn disobedience. And so it was God's mercy that becomes the occasion for the hardening of Pharaoh's heart. And we also see in the New Testament, Gus, that when the Apostle Paul is talking about this, he begins with the presupposition that God judges everyone justly, and emphasizes the fact that people like Pharaoh are prepared for destruction because that is ultimately what they will for themselves. Every time that God gives them an opportunity to repent, like too many people do, Pharaoh does the same thing. He hardened his heart in disobedience and unbelief. So you have really the ultimate antinomy at this point. What's cool about this, on the one hand, you read in, I think it's Exodus 10:1, the inverse of what you just said, Christine. In Exodus 10:1, you see the notion of God hardening Pharaoh's heart. But as you point out in passages like Exodus chapter 8, I think you were saying, in Exodus chapter 8, we're told by the biblical text that Pharaoh hardened his own heart. So I don't think that you can get determinism out of this passage, because once again, let me emphasize the fact that every single time God shows mercy, mercy becomes the occasion for the hardening of Pharaoh's heart because he responds to disobedience.